Hello and welcome to the Free Cheese episode 454. I'm your Joe Dix, joined by Mark Argostiniak.
What's up?
Matt Zellner.
Hello.
The Free Cheese is a weekly video game podcast about video games brought to you once a week by thefreecheese.com. This week, Season 10 continues with Viewtiful Joe, the Capcom published, Clover Studio developed, side-scrolling action fun time. We're going to talk about the game, then we're going to rank the game. All of that and more coming up soon. But first, Mark, Matt, what is your go-to arcade game? You walk into an arcade, you see all the machines, you hear all the buzzing. What is the thing that you are wandering around the area hoping they have a cabinet for?
Hoping they have? Because I'm always hoping for F-Zero AX. Never got to play it.
When the knife cuts and you're walking away, holding your side, wounded and upset, where do you find yourself landing?
Time Crisis.
Wow, nice.
Did I take yours?
That was, yeah. There's
right,
something about that pedal and light gun that just make one hell of a fine game.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I'm glad we're in agreement. We'd be playing it together. We'd be co-op.
If we're going light gun, I'm going House of the Dead, but...
Yeah, that's a good one, too. Any of them, really.
I like the later ones. There's extravagant machines or cabinets with the and you get like a Uzi or like a assault rifle or something.
Oh, yeah.
I think starting with like 3 or 4, you can start to get that kind of stuff with the cabinet, which I like way better than the handgun.
I don't know, man. There's something about Area 51.
That is a bop. That's a real good game.
That's classic, and it feels like a classic.
If you put quarters in both slots, you're just dual wielding.
Oh, yeah, that's daddy status right there. This one popped into my head this week. I don't remember why. I can't remember at all. But did you guys ever see the skateboard arcade game? It was like an orange machine.
And you had the handles on the sides?
The handles on the side for safety.
Mm-hmm.
And it did not actually feel like skateboarding, but you could kind of like wiggle. And yeah,
that thing was huge. Like
it was massive. I remember they had it at the laser tag place.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something. I feel like they had that there, and they had that Beachhead VR
Ultrazone.
Probably, yeah, the one down in the mall.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that I remember that one a bunch. I don't know. My go-to though, I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer for that.
Yeah, like I usually
probably. Go ahead.
I'll say like I usually just gravitate towards like either the shooters or a racer or a beat 'em up.
Yeah, I'm always stoked when there's a Ms. Pac-Man or a Pac-Man, but I play them for a couple of minutes. I'm not good at them, and then I'm like, all right, what else? But yeah, I think like when I see there's a Turtles machine, I think that's always exciting.
Yeah.
Simpsons is also fantastic.
X-Men.
The Simpsons is a favorite of mine. I also find myself more recently, I think it's the dawn of the rally, man. I am a sucker for Daytona USA.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Best answer.
Yeah, that Daytona was the jam. I guess equally Cruisin'.
Yep.
Was also great.
Double tap that pedal.
Oh, man. Too good. Too good. Not unlike Viewtiful Joe, which is this week's game, I should say. Not this game's week. It could be this game's week. It is this game's week. As we talk about Clover Studio, a.k.a. Capcom Production Studio 4. This is largely, for those unfamiliar, this is largely the team that ended up leaving to make what we now know as Platinum Games. But this was published by Capcom. First released June 26th, 2003 for the Nintendo GameCube, famously of the was it the GameCube 5? Was that the
Something like that. Or the Capcom 5.
Capcom 5? Yeah, I don't know why it's the GameCube thing.
I mean, same thing. Might as well be.
Yeah.
Not
with
not the same
PN
thing. They all came to PlayStation.
Not all of them.
Yeah, there's that.
I think like only 2 of them did.
The good ones. The notable ones.
But we did. So this was PN03, Dead Phoenix, Resident Evil 4, Killer 7, and then Viewtiful Joe. Which Dead Phoenix
4.
was the one that never actually made it out.
Yeah.
The others did. Mark, you played some PN03, right?
I have it.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's
I've only seen stills of it, but yeah,
it's just a third person shooter, but like the movement is it's odd because your character is always dancing, and like they have lore for like why she's always dancing, but I forget what it is exactly. But she always has to be moving, so I think that has something to do with her powers. I think I'm probably just making it up, but yeah, like it's not. It looks like it would be a rhythm game, but it's not a rhythm game. Just all your moves just blend into
always
each other
timed to
very
the beat.
well. Yeah.
Well, now I didn't realize it was that kind of jam. I want to check it out. But Viewtiful Joe, back with the box quote to get us started here. Meet the world's newest celluloid superhero. Introducing Joe, an average guy that gets caught up in a crazy stunt-filled action movie world in order to rescue his girl, Sylvia, from the clutches from evil. This seems wrong. Blessed with beautiful moves, Joe must use his newly acquired superpowers to clobber an army of enemies. I wonder if I grabbed like a fan-made box or what, because that seems incorrect, but
I think some boxes are known to have typos.
I mean, here's the PS2 version as an alternate. Viewtiful Joe is a celluloid superhero with all the attitude, punch, and style of a $1 million action star caught up in a frantic stunt-filled action movie universe. Lights, camera, action. This is the story of a man who once fought to save the world. So, Viewtiful Joe. I don't think there's much like Viewtiful Joe out there. In terms of the way it combines different gameplay systems with themes and story, and there's a lot of interesting things happening with Viewtiful Joe. The way I kind of want to approach this is really talking about, I don't know, what this game does really well, and the things that I think make it unique. I think maybe we'll talk, of course, about some of the shortcomings, and probably where it went from the original one. But I do want to ask first, Mark, this was a Mark pick. Mm-hmm. You'd played this before. Is this something you'd revisit often, or where is Mark's history with Viewtiful Joe start, end, continue, etc.?
So I remember it being first advertised in Nintendo Power, and I was very excited about it because I love the cell shading, the art style of it, the fact that it was like Power Ranger reminiscent. It shared those vibes. It's a very like tokusatsu themed game. So it seemed right up my alley, and when I finally played it, I liked it, but I also wasn't expecting it to be the way it is. But I was okay with it. I remember it being very difficult, and then I think I played it on like the easier setting and had a decent time. I eventually got through it and played the sequel. I played the Smash Brothers spinoff, which it was but everybody had to make something like that around that time. But yeah, that series was always cool. I always liked it from afar, and up close. but oddly enough, it wasn't a series that I revisited a lot or ever after I played them once and I was like, all right, I got my fill. But whenever it popped up somewhere, it did always like bring back those memories. Like, oh yeah, this was really cool. I really enjoyed that time. And then here we are. This is like, I think this might be like my third time total probably playing this game.
Yeah, this was another. I'm learning a lot as we go through this season of games, as we revisit things from 2002 to 5.
Yeah.
Any game in that period is very much hey, I saw this in Blockbuster kind of deal. Like, I feel like there was a good period of time where, 2003, I'm in high school. I lived close enough. I lived like within walking distance to the Blockbuster, and in fact, like we also had this back path that we could kind of cut through, where we'd walk through a field, cut through a neighborhood, and then go through this swamp, and you'd come out the other side, and you were like behind the Blockbuster, that shopping center. Very convenient, especially when you're doing hood rat stuff, to have all these cool back pathways to go down. But yeah, it was great. Like, you'd walk through, we could walk right there, and there was a grocery store right next to the Blockbuster. So I'd oft find myself going in there and buying, candles to take to the streets for skateboarding, because you'd want to wax up the curbs, but also, soda or whatever. And this was definitely one where I just remember, like, we would spend Friday nights hanging out in these parking lots skateboarding, or when we got to that era where kids still do this, right? Where just a bunch of dirtbags hang out in a parking lot with cars, and the kids whose parents put money into their cars or bought them some fast car point at it and go, yeah, I got that, and they make loud noises with them. Mm-hmm. All of that era of things, when I was hanging out doing those things, I would very quickly get bored of the same dirtbag with his same Jetta, and I'd wander into the Blockbuster and just look at covers. And I remember Viewtiful Joe, and I remember thinking, is this not Mega Man? And what's the deal here? But I'd never played it until this week. Matt, Viewtiful Joe, is this your first time playing it? What do you remember of Viewtiful Joe from 2003, 4, 5?
Well, yes, this is my first time playing it, but I remember hearing about it while I was in the parking lot revving my engine for the cool car my parents got me.
Jetta.
Although I do have the Civic from Fast and Furious, just, not without all the souped up parts at that time. No, if you don't...
You ever drive it under a tractor trailer?
Tried multiple times. Just
good.
Can't. Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, it was my only car. Anyway, I just didn't have the power of Vin Diesel in me. I just don't think. No, but Viewtiful Joe was always a game that was slightly like attracting because of the art style. It was always seemed cool from the gameplay I would see. I just never. It was too unknown for me to actually go out and buy it, especially by the time it comes to PS2 and things like that. I mean, it's not that it came late, but I don't know. I didn't see myself spending like $50 on this as opposed to something I know I would like a MLB, a Madden, something like that. So yeah, I remember seeing a lot of this, and I remember it looking cool. I always kind of wanted to play it. It would probably have been the perfect rental, but I never rented it, and this was my first time playing it.
Yeah, of that era, I don't remember renting much. Like, we were pretty much still just playing Tony Hawk and Grand Theft Auto, and I don't know. I remember renting, around this era, I'd skipped school, rented Dead to Rights, beat it in a day instead of going to school, and then that's the big one I remember. But, yeah. Viewtiful Joe, though, I did play this time around, so if you're listening, you've not played Viewtiful Joe, you're just hanging out with us to hear about what Viewtiful Joe is. You play as Joe, who... We'll come back to his physical appearance in a moment. You play as Joe, and he's in a movie and falls asleep. Is that the idea?
No.
I'm thinking of one of the weird cutscenes, but no. It starts off, and he's...
I
played the beginning of this a month ago.
Then he's really into it. It's his girlfriend is like trying to like not care about it, like because like they haven't been out on an actual date in forever, and she's like just wanting to like super make out with him, and he's like, no, like I'm trying to watch the movie. Like,
I did write down. I have a quote here that says, "More romantic than popcorn in the lobby."
Yeah,
but so he does get pulled into the story, literally pulled into the story of the movie, but kind of becomes the hero of his own tale.
He's watching like a mech fight happen, and the villain busts through the screen and grabs Sylvia, and then he gets sucked into that movie as well, or movie world, whatever. No real explanation. That's just...
and nor do you really need one, right?
I mean, yeah, for this kind of game, I don't think story is taking the forefront.
So, but for the player, what happens is we end up where you're playing as Joe, who's got this... Mark mentioned it before, but very Power Rangers-esque suit to him, powered by this bracelet, and... As long as you don't like let his meter run out, which you can do as you start to unlock powers, you remain in the suit, and the whole game itself is taking course over like a 2D playing field. But it's kind of like it's not quite, well, I guess it is like a 2.5D style thing, because it's 3D cel-shaded action happening on a 2D plane, and you end up with multiple genres of story, at least, being kind of spliced together in the main story. Yeah. That was the one part I think was a little just jarring at first, where like I thought I completed a level, but it was only like half of a level because it was changing genres a little bit here and there. But the main thing you unlock first, 3 main powers for Joe. You can, throughout the game, you are collecting small little, what are they called? The little V coin, not coins, but the V.
VFX points.
Yes. As you unlock those, they're doing they're letting you kind of fill your meter. And your meter, boy, that is the part of Viewtiful Joe I think is so good, is they have so many complementary systems that all work really well and allow for a lot of customization. You really can play how you want to play within the tool set they give you. So you collect those VFX points. Those take your small meter and slowly expand it so that you can use the VFX stuff for longer periods of time. You're also collecting V coins that you can then trade in at vending machines, and you can get short-term power-ups like health regen stuff, or you're getting more permanent things like new combos or new moves or things like that. The first 3 things the main 3 things you learned that become Joe's tool set outside of punching and kicking, because you do have the ability to like duck and raise as well, which are very nice little like subtle attack things.
The raise is interesting because it's like it's like you're frozen in midair for like a second. Like your feet are off the ground, and that's a bit, you're not jumping, but your feet are off the ground to like enough to dodge a kick, but you kind of just like stay there for a little bit. And it's good when like you get little visual cues that like you need to dodge something that's about to hit you in the legs, and that's good. But the things you unlock, so the hero of the movie that Joe was seeing is the one that kind of teaches him these new skills. The first one is to slow down time, the second one is to speed up time, and the third one is to do this kind of like focus mode where it zooms in on Joe super tight on the screen, and by pressing one of the face buttons you end up doing a different super attack in a way.
But all of that, whether you're slowing down, speeding up, or zooming in to do those focus attacks, you are draining that meter. So it's kind of a balance act that you have to do, whether or not you utilize those things or not. But I don't think we've had many games that play around with time like that and speed specifically in terms of combat.
Yeah, it's kind of a precursor to Bayonetta.
Oh, they do. Yeah, I guess they have witch time. I forgot about that. But even that, it's different. But you're right. That's the closest, I think. I can't think of another big thing, though,
Yeah.
right?
But like, especially with this style, because this whole game, like, everything is movie themed, and like the HUD is movie themed. Everything you're collecting is basically movie themed. The way the levels are set up, obviously. Even when you pause the game, the director's like, "Hey, where you going?" Or like, "Oh, like you got to go to the bathroom." Or like, is it a number 1 or number 2? It's like,
those little things when you die, the cut.
Yeah, and
sorry, Matt.
But like, and then the meter is like a film reel, so like, that looks cool. But yeah, like, but you were saying with those abilities, like slow motion and the speed up and all that makes more sense.
Did you guys have a favorite boss while you were fighting through?
I think just design wise, I like Charles III.
Yeah,
just a cool bat.
I wrote Charles III rules.
Yeah.
And I'm worried there won't be another horror level because I liked this theme a lot, obviously.
No, I like the theme of it. I definitely did not like Another Joe. That's the one. Fuck that guy. Other than that, though, I kind of like that guy from I like the design of the Chapter 5 one. I felt actually the most fair. Or not, I don't know, it felt like I needed to mix all my skills a little bit more than Another Joe. But no, I forgot his name. Yeah. It was the purple guy.
Alistair. Yeah, I don't mind his fight. His is pretty cool. I think, yeah, it's like, just design-wise, I like Charles III, but, like, fighting-wise, I don't know. I think it's probably equally frustrating, but there's something about fighting Fire Leo that I like, too. But he's, like, that's, like, way towards the end. It's not, like, the final boss, but it's, like, before the final boss.
I also have a quote here that just says, "Davidson is in the house."
Oh my god. Fucking
over and over again.
I forgot his first name already.
I don't remember now.
Oh, Hawk Davidson.
Yeah, there you go. While we're talking about recurring boss fights, I love that every stage is just a prank. You just always have a Joker popping up at the end or partway through. You've got the slot machine. You've got to take him out. And I did like the slot machine mechanic of having to use time slowdown to pinpoint the exact,
Yeah.
That was a nice touch to get you power-ups and then a key to advance forward. Another thing I like, a really high for me of this game is there are a lot of puzzles in the game where you have to figure out something. It's combining mechanics you've learned with skills, with whatever, with platforming. There's a lot of them, and there's one in particular I'm remembering where I was doing it and I felt like the way the camera was positioned that the game wanted me to go a different way. And before I did, I was like, nope, I'm gonna do this instead. The one I'm remembering specifically is kind of early on in that mansion level where you have the bombs that you need to blow up doors with.
Yeah.
So there's a hallway to the right that you have to go to, but there's a door that's up on the ceiling. And I remember like having to very carefully juggle this bomb, ignite it with you speed up, you punch it so that it's, you ignite it with your speed is so fast that there's flames. and then you kick it to the ceiling and slow it down so that it blows up the door in the ceiling. And I remember doing that and feeling like that was a secret that I wasn't that wasn't, it was an alternate path.
Right.
But in fact, it's the path you have to go on. But they never make you feel that way, and they never point you in that direction. So problem solving becomes an actual skill that you need for this. And I felt smart doing it, which was great. I feel like I felt smarter in that moment than I do now trying to articulate it. But it was I appreciated that aspect of this game that I feel like we had that a couple times. Same thing with the bus jump was another early one that happened.
Right.
Where it was like, wait, how do I, what? Oh, I get it. Albeit it took me a while because I ran to the end of it and was trying to jump.
Thing.
Like, what do I do here? And then I'm like, wait a second, there's probably something with that bus, huh?
You bring up the puzzle stuff, but that's also in the bosses too. Like, there was not a very obvious way of seeing like what you were supposed to do with some of the bosses. It was a lot of trial and error. I mean, yeah, it was deaths required, but at least like the game was forgiving enough in that instance to, like if you lost all your lives, like it didn't really matter because you just reset from that boss fight anyway. The third parts of levels.
Yeah.
The main bosses, not like the hairier stuff and the chopper.
No, I get that. I think they changed that on PlayStation.
I played GameCube.
No, I'm saying I was on PlayStation, and I don't think that was the case.
Oh. No, it was because the episodes were... Because the levels are called episodes, and then what would be, I guess, the stages... I was calling them parts the entire time. I guess they're stages, but it was like stage 1, stage 2, then like another power-up, like continue your power-up. There was no option to save, though. So like you kind of had to see the boss through.
Those were very flaky. It was like every time like an episode got broken up, you could sometimes save, sometimes couldn't. Sometimes do a power up, sometimes couldn't. It wasn't. It was never consistent.
Oh, I only couldn't. No, I had the pattern of like I could only save after stage 1 of an episode. I could not save going into the boss, but I could always save after a boss fight. And I always had power-ups. Yeah, I always had the ability to power up. Maybe besides like the end of stage 1 of episode 1, maybe not, but it was consistent.
I feel like it was, but boss death would sometimes restart the entire level, not the boss fight for me.
For me, it would restart the boss fight.
I mean, maybe you had to do the run up. There was like one who he was like at the rhino guy. And I do not remember any of their names, but like you had to do like that jumping puzzle with the bombs.
Yeah,
that was like you had to do that run up if you ran out of lives. But if you had lives, you were in the boss room.
Okay.
That was about it though. And really, the rest of them were kind of like right there. You just had to walk to like the start boss fight part of the map.
Maybe I didn't die that much. Like maybe I didn't game over that much in it, and I'm misremembering. I don't know, but yeah, that.
Oh well, that's another question. Like, what difficulty did everyone play on?
Adult.
Oh. No, I did kid.
So I think my first time playing this way back, I did kids. I tried adult first because like they make you like it seems kind of bullying in a way. Like they really want to rub it in that you're playing on like kids mode or something. It's like, you little crap, like here you go.
Yeah, and that's why I did it, because I hate that in games. I think of the era it was fine, but I think especially today I hate it, where I'm like, just
like Capcom back then is notorious for being so god awfully cruel to you. Like you were never good enough in their eyes, no matter how well you do. And like Devil May Cry did this a lot. The Mega Man X games did this a lot. Like, you had to be, like, insanely perfect and untouchable to get, like, the best, like, letter grade, right? Yeah. And then, like, in this, it's like, you can get awesome, and above that is beautiful, right? But if you're B or lower, you're bad or crappy, and it's like, damn, dude. Like...
But also the way they say bad, and they put 1,000 A's in bad, made me feel like it's good, maybe?
See, but then... Maybe I shouldn't project, but... I'm also, like, this is also a Hideki Kamiya game.
Sure, yeah.
And I know he can be a real tough one.
Sure.
So I'm feeling like maybe that was his way of like getting his frustration down on the players.
Yeah.
No, I thought the bad thing too was like a good thing until I saw the seed it was crappy, and I was like, nah, it means I'm doing bad.
Yeah,
And when like the first 3 times I got V's, I was like, oh, okay, then maybe bad is not good. But
I mean, I would love to
I remember that, speaking of Bayonetta, like that was another one that was, I always do terribly with the letter ranking in Bayonetta.
Yeah.
Like,
but like,
Just trying to beat the game, dude. It's already tough enough. Don't need to make it look pretty.
yeah, like for anyone who's like interested in playing this, like I would actually recommend kids mode more than anything. Like adults is fine. The only difference is that like if you beat it on kids mode, you don't unlock anything. If you beat it on adults, you not only unlock like you unlock like a pretty cool music video, but aside from that, you unlock harder difficulties for some reason.
yeah.
Like there's like V-rated I think is one of them. I forget the other one, but they're basically, I think they're like new game pluses. Like I think you get to carry over the moves that you bought and stuff. And that just I just cannot imagine playing that on any harder difficulty than adults.
No, not at all.
So I mean, about that, I struggled. I'm not going to sit here and say God Gamer fucking easy peasy. I mean, I definitely struggled, and I got game overs, and I had to keep going through it. But like, I don't know. It was one of those things where, because like you said, this game kind of mixes up its genres so much. It also mixes up like what you're supposed to do in certain situations and kind of how to approach certain enemies, because there's a variety of them. And kind of once you get down like how to approach an enemy, it's kind of like that Dark Souls thing, right? Where it's like, all right, I got confidence. I know when to like dodge, dip, hit, back up, hit again, dead, right? And then like as you keep leveling up your stuff, like your mach speed, you get the slow motion stuff, and then you start kind of realizing how you can combo the older, like I guess like the first type of enemies into how to help you out with newer enemies and stuff like that. Like, so yeah, it's like it's gonna punch you in the mouth, but like I don't know, like it kind of made me learn how the game wanted me to play it almost.
And that's why I opened this bringing up arcade games, because this reminds me so much of the arcade, where you have to learn the patterns of the stage. And like any stage that I struggled on, repetition is it's, you know, that old school classic game design of, this is the pattern that's on the screen. Learn it, memorize it, figure out how to beat it. And like, you do that and you are better prepared for the next thing that happens. The boss fights were kind of the anomaly because they each had their own quirks about them. But learning one prepared you for the next one,
but
right?
You would have to know how to take them down, because in Chapter 6, they do that thing of like, oh, hey, bosses are back.
Yeah.
And that's ultimately where I tapped out. It's bad because all 3 of those bosses, albeit like I'm slow probably, I probably am more cautious in my approaches in these fights. But like Another Joe, I struggled with so much in Chapter 4 that when they're at the end of this ringer of bosses where I'm getting hit, like I'm not perfect these boss fights. I'm getting hit, and I entered this fight, and he does that move where those other those Joes come flying at you. I never learned how to dodge that fight. I don't know, or dodge that move. I don't know what I was doing wrong. I could not figure it out for the life of me. But like that's where I ultimately tapped out in this game, and kind of leading up to the podcast. I feel like if I had started this a week earlier, I would have went back and beat it, because like this morning I actually woke up. I was like, oh, I don't want to play episode 6 again, see if I can beat it. Strangely enough, but no, like there's something. Yeah, I forgot what my main point now was when I brought this up. Was it just like grinding it out, repetition?
Yeah.
Oh, it was the counter, or supporting the point of like repetition and getting to know the enemy types because you revisit in episode 6. That's what it is. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, like that's like one of my least favorite things. That's why I don't really like play through a lot of Mega Man games, because I don't like having to fight the bosses again, like in a boss rush mode. Like I'm not a fan of that. like that little like endurance test thing. I feel like like I already proved myself. Shouldn't have to do it again.
I like it in a thing like Breath of the Wild, right? Where like if you didn't take the time to go and defeat these bosses, like you're going to see these bosses one way or another. It's just whether or not the arena's different. And the scenario's a little bit different. Like I like when things do that, but I don't need a repeat of something.
But with your problem with those floating Joes or whatever, I think there's like 3 ways. I'm trying to think of how I handled it, and like one of them was just hope for the best, just kind of run away from them. But second one is zoom in and do your like spin kick, where you're just like it's a disc. They all blow up.
Yeah, that zoom in triangle was key for so many.
And you have to unlock it, but there's another move you can get where when you dodge and you zoom in, you do a pose. And that pose does an AoE effect and damages everything around you.
I think that is the last thing I have still yet to buy because I didn't see a scenario where that worked. But yeah, I guess
it's very good. Like whenever you're like dodging some attack, even if you don't mean to dodge one, but that's just what Joe does because of whatever's coming at him. That zoom in is
Speaking about buying power-ups when you're stuck in a boss fight, I will say the roguelike thing of letting you, when you game over, you keep what you've earned as far as those V-coin things.
Yes.
I appreciated that a lot. It let me buy like an extra life or even get like an extra like tick on the health bar and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That bailed me out a few times. So I'm like, that is a good balance, I think, to the difficulty in a way.
Yeah.
And it made me feel...
I didn't do it in this... Go ahead.
I was going to say, it made me feel okay kind of dying knowing I got a shit ton of coins that run or whatever, so that I could reinvest some stuff.
There's been other games where I've been okay repeating a level, knowing that mechanic exists, so I'd play through a level, intentionally die at the end, so that I could run through it again and get more coins for extra power. I didn't do it this time, but that would have been a good tactic.
Oh, man.
A little bit of the grind.
I did do the grinding.
I have a Venn
the game
diagram
did the
I
grinding
drew
for
here.
me.
Yeah. I have a Venn diagram I drew here, and on the right side it's Viewtiful Joe, and on the left side it's Fred Durst, and in the middle it's Mark's style icons.
Yeah.
There's some sort of something there.
This would be probably one of the heads on my Mount Rushmore of TM.
I learned a lot about Mark playing this game. Not learned a lot, but like...
So...
yeah.
So I said before, like, when you beat it on the adults difficulty, you unlock a music video.
Yes.
I don't know if anyone here has seen it.
I watched the PlayStation 2 one. I didn't watch the GameCube one.
That's the better one anyway. The GameCube one's very bare bones, but it's just like this like new metal, like rap, rock, like alternative kind of thing, and I fell in love with that video. Like I since I never beat it on that difficulty, I beat it on kids, so I didn't get that access. I was like, that sucks. So I would go to GameSpot like almost daily just to listen to that song.
I love that.
I had no idea what they were saying, but I just thought it was so cool just to see video game characters playing music like that. And yeah, like back then that was just like that was a reward instead of just like a bonus thing in the options or something.
Yeah, but I love that. I love that so much. Like it's kind of a throwaway, but it's not, and it's just like a thing. Like it's a thing to talk about. Like it's a, hey, have you seen did you get the music video? No,
Yeah.
You didn't. Oh shoot, you got to play it again on adult mode. That kind of thing. And I'm sure. Do you know if there's a reward for beating it on
like,
V hard or whatever?
I think you get to unlock. So you can play as Alistair.
Oh, okay.
It's just it's the same exact game. You just replace Joe with Alistair, and like you get to see like his human form before like transforming and all that. And I think the PS2 version you get to play as Dante.
Right. I've seen that sprite,
Which makes a lot of
sprite,
sense.
but that model. Yeah, I'm happy that I finally got to play this one. It it all comes together. I wish Joe didn't look like Joe. Like, really, the goatee is my problem. The just bottom of the chin.
The soul patch thing or whatever.
Yeah. And knowing what he looks like underneath with the, that whole vibe, like he's in an Offspring cover band.
I love it.
I know, but I think
man.
the like actual, I was gonna call him a Ninja Turtle, Power Ranger. That design of him on his own is great.
Yeah,
he like covered up his chin with part of his helmet. That might be more.
Because it's like, it's like every nerd's dream to like become that hero, and he doesn't really look like your typical nerd either. Like when you try to think about it around that time, like he looks like he wouldn't even be into that type of stuff. He has like a tribal tattoo on his arm. He's wearing like he just doesn't look like he doesn't belong. He's like a fish out of water almost thing. But I don't know. Just if that design was in any other art style, I don't think it would work.
But he seems like the type of character that is almost like a. Is this?
I was gonna say he seems like bro-ish more than nerdy.
Yeah,
like he likes.
Yeah, but I wonder if at the time this is like a Japanese interpretation of what an American looks like, because this was a stereotypical
probably
American of that era of film, right? Like this was like the one of those characters for sure. And was this like, hey, this is an American? I don't know. Because he's, especially the fact that he's meant to be an average Joe, and is that is this what an average Joe is to a Japanese company in 2001 too, when they're designing this?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head with that one. I think that's absolutely what's going on here. But man, there's something about that, like whenever like Japan designs Western things, for some reason it feels more accurate than when
my gosh,
when Americans design American things, because
Americans designing Americans try and find the best in themselves, where Japan is seeing it and going, well, that's what I'm seeing, so that's what I'm making.
Especially Guile.
I'm not gonna especially Guile. We all look like Guile. If you're listening not from America and you've only seen us on social media, just remember that everyone's hair looks like Guile here in America.
We have 2 American flag tattoos on our arms.
Oh yeah, that's the first thing you do. Yeah, you turn 18 and you have to go right to the tattoo parlor. One on the left, one on the right.
But like, think like what? So this game came out not too long after Limp Bizkit's Chocolate Starfish Hot Dog Flavored Water.
There's a very, very real possibility that Fred Durst was a physical influence on Joe's design.
Yeah. But like, so yeah, this is definitely one of like the beginning roots of what I was looking for in games and stuff.
Yeah. One thing that I'm kind of left wondering after playing through Viewtiful Joe, why has Capcom not revived this at all? There was a sequel. There was a PSP game and a DS game.
Yeah, I never played a DS game.
Yeah, I might be missing one. I don't remember. But then, of course, he's been in the Marvel vs. Capcom games. I mean, he's been around, but they've not just
he was
dumped these. There was no PS3 collection. There was no PS4 collection, which is surprising because I feel like Okami was the first one to get it. But I feel like with the success of Okami, it would have happened. Because didn't Okami happen on PS3?
Okami was a PS2 game.
I mean, the first re-release.
But yeah, and then it went to Wii.
It was PS2, Wii, and then I thought the first HD version was PS3. I might be wrong. It might have been.
That might be right.
I know now it's PS4, Xbox, and Switch and everything, but
yeah. That sounds right to me. Because I think I can't remember if the Wii version came before or after an HD one. But all I remember, the cover of that one has a IGN watermark. in the
Yeah.
in it.
I,
The misprint.
Joe, you are correct. The first high definition remaster of this game was on PlayStation 3. And it came out in October 30th or 31st. I don't know. All right, I don't know what date, but PS3 for sure.
yeah. Okay, good. I thought, yeah. Right, but like, so right away they knew we got to bring this over. Obviously, of the other Capcom 5, Resident Evil and Killer 7 have both been brought around.
True.
Resident Evil 4, that is. And Killer 7. But yeah, no Viewtiful Joe, which seems really weird because I know we went through that period of time in the early 2010s, whatever, where everything had to be like serious and whatever, but we're definitely on a swing now, video game wise, where colors are back and like you're allowed to be bright and cheerful and whatever. And maybe Joe is just that unlikable of a character. I don't know, but I feel like the game is still pretty good. I don't know. I think honestly, I would be very surprised if before the end of this year we don't see Capcom put out at least this first game in a,
Yeah.
some sort of remastered thing.
There was even an anime for a little bit too. So like,
right? Yeah. I saw that and
there's
diving
definitely-
into.
I mean, what? So Marvel vs. Capcom 3, I think, was the last game he was in.
Yeah, because I don't think they put him in Infinite, did they?
I don't think so.
I don't think they put anyone in Infinite.
Bump.
Or maybe it is Infinite. I don't know. But I remember him also being in Tatsunoko vs. Capcom.
Yes. Yeah.
So like, the awareness is there, and then the fact that Wonderful 101 happened, like that art style is definitely reminiscent of Viewtiful Joe. And then the fact that Kami is also working on another like superhero-ish game, probably related to that style in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
It's definitely tokusatsu related. Like he's got a passion for it. Yeah, I don't know. Something behind the scenes.
And Kamiya has been vocal about saying he wants to make a third one, specifically for Switch. So there's that too. I don't know, but yeah, I would be very surprised if we did not see a re-release of this with like, I don't know, you play through and you can unlock, or honestly what it would be is like you pre-order it and whatever, and you get playable Rockman in one of the things, or whatever.
Like it's basically a Mega Man game in a lot of ways.
And I believe so. There's the Archipel documentary. I believe this is part of their Caravan series, but there's a whole like 6 or 7 part. I believe it's called the Kamiya Chronicles, but it goes through game by game with his history of making stuff, and it's like it starts with Resident Evil and goes up through. I mean, they talk about the Scalebound cancellation, all of that stuff. But it's kind of like his history and then his work. But they talk about Viewtiful Joe, and in it, I remember he makes mention of wanting to do something like Mega Man, but they didn't want to make Mega, right? It was like, make a Mega Man, but don't make it Mega Man.
Right. And like, Joe definitely has like that Proto Man style to him as well.
Yeah. One quick side note. Who thought it was a good idea to first end the shooting game section of that one level, and then second, play an alarm for 20 minutes while you made it through that stage? This is the 20 Million Leagues Under the Sea.
Yeah, that whole section is my least favorite.
That is the worst part of the game.
You had to flip it all upside down and then go through it again. And then flip it again, and then that's where you fight another Joe as the boss. It's just like that whole thing was just like a giant FU with the way they had they set up stuff. Like those stupid electric guard things that would spin and shoot out little electricity things. If you did slow motion, you're screwed because it made those things blast even sooner and bigger.
And
but then the way they would the way they would spawn enemies around it, where like you couldn't exactly dodge the enemy without getting hit by that. It was just I had to find a way to cheese
doing the zoom and jump for those, and just getting through them that way. But yeah,
I also just ran through that level. That was one of the few times I said,
on the way back, I did
Fuck
the
it.
same thing. Yep.
fuck it, I'm done.
Yep.
I don't need these V-coin currency things.
Yeah, when I knew, because there's sometimes you had to clear a room to open a door. When I saw all those doors were open, I just R1 my way all the way through.
Just go for it. All right, I'll take your advice.
Yep.
Right?
Just one note about this one note. Just with all the different genres and the way this game makes you play, like to how it wants you to play and stuff. The going up that corporate building with the level with the elevators, and then the levels where you're in the hallways with the timed rolling of that spike ball coming at you. I died there a couple times, but I really just liked how, again, it was, I am a cautious player in something like this where it's tough as nails and you only have so many hits. So like all of a sudden kind of turning my strategy upside down and just making me learn quickly how to just combo the hell out of everything. And you learn something out of that, and you can apply that later down the road if you haven't been playing like that. That was just one room that kind of changed how I play like the rest of my playthrough.
Yeah,
there were a few of those moments that you had to play how it wanted you to play it. I think it made you a better player in the end.
Yeah, trying to figure out each enemy's patterns and how to like approach them. Like for example, like those big burly like yellow guys that are like kind of wind up or whatever. Like the trick is to get behind them and you defeat them in like 2 or 3 hits. But my main go-to for any enemy now is just zoom in and slow motion combined and just hold in punch. And then most enemies are just gone. It's like, all right, I feel better now.
That or the zoom in kick in slow-mo.
Yeah.
Jump right between 2 of them. So what's the final verdict on Viewtiful Joe? Where do you think this franchise goes, Mark?
Where do I think it goes?
Yeah.
Like if they made another one, or
I don't know. I mean, does this? I guess I asked 2 questions at once there. But yeah, I guess first, like walking away from this one, or for you revisiting this one now, almost 20 years later, how do you think it holds up in 2022?
I think visually, it still holds up.
Yeah.
Its style is just so eye-catching and like comic booky with its cell shading and cartoony, I guess too. But like,
and honestly, that worked. Sorry to cut you off. That worked. I played on a CRT on an actual PS2, and it works so well still. Like, it looks better than some of the games I'm playing in 4K in some ways, just because of the way the art style is.
Yeah. I enjoy that combat system. I don't know if my fondness for it is as strong as it was back then, just because I didn't know any better back then. So obviously I liked it a lot more then, but I think this game is a little unfair. I think it's a little too brutal for the sake of killing time or filler. Just try to make this game be worth the money that you're paying for it. That's what it feels like. But hey, that's just me. I know a lot of people love these types of games, like your Devil May Cries and what have you, where it's just like an insane combo fest, never stop, always be moving type of thing. Or you can try to approach it to like a more like methodical pace or something, or however Matt said that you were playing like a more slower approach. I like that it gives you those options, but like just prepare to be punished when you make a mistake. So maybe not so much for me now, but yeah, that's my last words on it. I still respect it.
Would the difficulty? I mean, it's still hard. I mean, it's going to be the same difficulty no matter what platform. But like, do you have a different expectation because it's on GameCube and not like PlayStation? Well, started the initial release on GameCube.
I thought. I mean, I mean, back then I was just super hardcore supporting GameCube that I just thought it was cool. I'm not sure if I expected it to be easier just because GameCube gets treated more like the kiddie system and it gets all like the...
We're kind of not alluding to that, but yeah.
Right.
That's why I asked you.
I don't think I had that in mind. I think I was just... I just don't think I just never thought that far into it because I've definitely played some hard games on GameCube before that game came out.
I for sure kind of underestimated difficulty because of the initial platform release. I heard this was like difficult, but again, like that's relative, right? Meanwhile,
Right.
You know, Dark Souls guy over here, easy. Yeah, and I got my ass kicked that first episode. I think I even texted you all. I was like, "Whoa, this is a little bit not what I was expecting," and kind of had to redo some expectations.
And like finding those patterns is one thing, but I think honestly, I think the most brutal part is just the lack of checkpoints. I think I'm spoiled by where you can respawn at in a level and having that being a motivator to push forward. Because like once you get to the end of like a section and you die, you have to start all the way over it. I mean, you have to go through all that same crap again, and it's like you can't really rush it. And it's like not right now, man.
I think it was
Let me
the
come back.
submarine level where you beat the boss, but there was a section after where you have to escape. Was it after Another Joe? It might have been.
Yeah.
So there was one of the rocket things. There was one of those area kind of puzzle things where you had to like slow-mo punch it or fire. To get yourself on fire, slow-mo punch it. I think Joe does one he talked about, actually. But like at that moment, I just saw the timer ticking down. And I was like, I am not fucking dying and doing that boss fight again. So I paused it, brought up the IGN guide to see what I had to do. But yeah, like, it's something. But
hey, it doesn't lack originality. I'll tell you that.
No, I think it's got a lot of that for sure. Where do you guys hope this is going? Is it a relic of the past? Should there be a third one? Is there room for it in Capcom's modern lineup?
Well, the two went co-op, didn't it?
I think it just let you play as Sylvia as an option. I'm not sure if it was. I can't remember if it was 2-player, but from what I remember, that game didn't do anything too differently from the first one.
Beautiful features both as playable characters. Okay.
Yeah, it'd be cool if it was co-op. I think the closest you'll get to that is the Smash Brothers spin-off. Like Team Battle or something.
I was gonna say, like my answer to that question was gonna be like, if they can figure out a way to flush it out. Now, of course, I haven't played 2, so I don't know what else new they brought to the table for that game. But you know, this is like Joe mentioned it, but I didn't really talk about it. Like this fighting system, this slow motion, Mach speed, the way you have to combo the Mach speed to get some stuff in the background, and like the slow mo combo system. If you hit one, send flying, they all like. This is like a top 3, top 5. Like Matt will mention this again as a gameplay system that should be revisited amongst like the Arkham and the Final Fantasy VII remake systems that I always mention.
Yeah.
Like if they can continue to figure out and flesh out, and then maybe co-op is the way to go if they do a next one.
And like make it fully 3D.
I don't know if I want 3D.
I think I mean like
again,
cool
I need to play 2
like,
though before I can really kind of say what I would want. I think because some of it might be addressed in 2, but yeah.
My gut was like, how would you do a beat 'em up in 3D? And then I remembered Bayonetta. So yeah, if you do,
especially if it was co-op, I think it was just to have that real estate.
Yeah. Well, Matt and Mark, we've reached the end of the episode. We've talked about Viewtiful Joe. It's now time that we rank Viewtiful Joe against the rest of the list from this year. If you want to follow along with the list, you can do so at thefreecheese.com/thelist. Right now, Wii Sports reigns champion, and Billy Hatcher circles the drain. For our 19th entry, where do we think Viewtiful Joe makes sense. I will also accept Beautiful Jeff. Because as I mumble when I talk, most people, when I introduce myself, think my name is Jeff. So.
Oh.
Happened
last
night.
That's all right.
Again.
It's, again. I've had a person at Fuddruckers think my name was Bart.
That's a pretty good one to ride, though.
Because my voice doesn't carry well in loud areas, and like I feel like every restaurant has like those exhaust fans blowing at like super loud.
Yeah, well, that's why I lie and say my name's Jimmy, because that's an easy one. It cuts through. People hear it. Not gonna forget it. You can't mistake Jimmy with much else. But I've had people say Jeff so many times. You know, there are to some people.
Order up for
I
Bimmy?
am just Jeff.
Bimmy? Who's Bimmy?
Luckily, I think I'm good. Because Pat would be the mistake, but Pat's less common than Matt, so if you don't know, I think you would lean towards Matt.
And Pat is like there's a pop to it, right? Where I can see in a loud setting the M falls silent, but yeah, generally I think you're good. You maybe have to enunciate the T's. Matt. Yeah.
Anyway, I'll throw out my gut. I think it is our new 7, right there, sandwiched between Metal Gear Solid 2 and Burnout 3.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
Above Gitaru, man.
Huh.
For the frustrations I have with this game, every time I'm frustrated, after a break of maybe 24 hours or so, I itch to play it. And I do like playing it until I get frustrated and rinse and repeat the cycle. I really, last night, episode 6 got stuck. I was done. Fuck this game. I don't know how anyone can finish this. This morning, literally, I think I have a strategy now for episode 6 if I replayed it. So.
Yeah. In moderation.
I was not thinking that high, but.
I mean, that's my gut. I mean, of course. Just because I put it there doesn't mean it has to stay there. But
no, but I do know there was a point somewhere in the week I hit a moment in one. I don't remember which stage. It was one of the earlier ones, like 2 or 3, where I was like, "Oh, we're gonna have this pretty high on the list." Not remembering exactly the breakdown of the list, I was like, "This is gonna be pretty high. Like this is a very good video game." And I do think that my later kind of frustration with it. Definitely started to tick away at it, but I don't disagree with anything you've just said. In fact, I embrace it. So my gut initially was like the new 10, pushing down Minish Cap and sitting right below SSX Tricky, because I didn't see it going above Gitaru or SSX. But I hadn't considered the new 7. Mark, where were you leaning?
I was above SSX, but I wasn't sure about Gitaru. But after what Matt said, I think I have to agree.
You put it above Gitaru, you say?
Yeah, between Burnout and Metal Gear.
And you're above okay, or rather above Metal Gear, not above Burnout. Nobody wants to go there.
Now Burnout's really fun.
Yeah,
if you mess up, you're not punished for it.
Yeah, and it's so pick up and play. I mean, I think you have to get through that first level, that shock of whatever your expectations are, and then you're good.
You kill people to sugar cult, you know.
Also, you got the best DJ in the world.
Yeah, DJ Striker.
Yep.
Shout out.
Shout out indeed. Well, I'm good with it. So right now our top 10 from bottom up: SSX Tricky, Gitaru Man, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty, Viewtiful Joe, now at number 7, Burnout 3 Takedown, WWF No Mercy, Downwell, Res Infinite, Portal 2, and Wii Sports. That's your list, at least for now. We're going to rank our 20th game next week. How exciting is that? We went from 15 to 20 in no time, or like 5 weeks' time, but no time at all, it seems. If you want to find out what that is, you don't have to wait much longer. In fact, I'll tell you right now, next week we're talking NHL Stanley Cup for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Come back, hang out with us, get ready for the Stanley Cup itself. All of that and more awaits you on 455. Thank you, Capcom and Clover Studio, for Viewtiful Joe. A great game. And thank you, Mark, for putting it on the list.
No problem.
Thank you, Mark and Mac.
There it is, Mac. There it is.
There
Mac.
it is. Mark.
Fuddruckers all over again.
What do they call you, Mart?
I don't know.
Let's go with Marm and Mac. Thank you, Marm. Thank you, Mac. Thank you, listener, for listening. We'll be back next week. Bye.